On this channel, I've already made a video on how I remember what I read. It's a quite an old video, and I've changed the way that I remember what I read to actually remember it better. And in this video, I'm going to share you how I do that. But I'm first of all going to tell you a story that you can probably relate to if you're already reading. So I've read tons of books. Like I think I've read like 15 self-improvement books, maybe even 20. And to be honest, a lot of the ones that I read at first, I can't really remember what they were. Like I can remember the main concept, but I can't like tell you a resume of the whole book. Like tell you, oh, this was what happened. They told us this, right? And you might think, well, I thought you remembered what you read, but I didn't. And you keep lying to yourself if you're not actually using the knowledge. Why are you reading if you're continuously looking at the words, reading them, and not remembering everything? Like if you're not remembering anything of the words in the book, you can't actually use it in your own life. So back then my method was that I would write down what I had learned after every single chapter. But the problem with doing that is that I was only just remembering after the chapter, and then once it was written down on the page, the next day I would have probably forgot because then I had read something new. So my new method is way better, and it's like the way that I do it. You've probably never read a book like this, and you're gonna think that it's very boring, and you kind of have to force yourself to do it in the start. I still have to force myself, to be honest. So let's just say right now I'm reading the Infinite Game book, right? So for every chapter there is, let's just say a chapter is 20 pages. I will read all of the chapter and just think about what I have read. Then I'll close off the book and put it down. Then the next day when I go to read, then I'll read the same chapter again. I'll do it again and I'll think about what I've read. Then I'll close the book down, and then the next day after that I'll read the same chapter again. I'll think about what I've read and I'll close the book down. And then I'll do that one more time. So I literally read the same chapter 4 times. And in the end, it starts becoming like boring because you almost know what's coming on the next page. But that's what's going to make you remember what you're reading and actually take action on it. So once you've read the chapter 4 times, so you're basically reading the whole book 4 times. But every time you read a chapter, make sure to read it 4 times. And after the 4th time, then you take like your notepad or your phone, iPhone notes, whatever it is, and you write down some key things from the chapter. And then you meditate on what you've written down and you try to find out how you can use that to implement it into your like real life. So let's just say that you wrote down that, let's say in the book there, he's talking a lot about purpose, and he says that a business shouldn't be driven on the idea that you would want to make as much money as possible. Like the purpose of a business is not to make as much money as possible. Instead, the purpose of a business is to provide for the consumer, to help the consumer and to give them as much as possible. And for the people that are working in the business, you have to give them like a quality work experience and actually protect and take care of them. That's what a business is actually made for. And then the outcome of doing those things is making money. So, and then you'll use the money as fuel and invest it back into the business so you can advance those 2 core principles. You see, I could literally tell you that, and I have read that chapter 3 times. I'm reading it the 4th time today, isn't it? Or is it tomorrow? I can't recall. But I could only say that because I have read the chapter so many times, I've ingrained what he said into my brain. So once you've read those 4 chapters, or like the same chapter 4 times, you can start to think about how can you implement that into your own life. And that's what I've done, because in this example with a business shouldn't be made to make as much profit as possible only, I could implement that, and I already have. Whereas, on these videos, I don't make any money from this. So I'm literally just helping you because I want to. Whereas other people are looking for the best business model to make as much money as possible. You see, they're taking the wrong approach. Whereas I've read the book, I've read the chapters many times, so I know that that's not how you're supposed to go about it. You're supposed to find out who you want to help and what you want to help them with, and then just start helping them. And you see, once you start just writing down the key point from the chapter after you've read it 4 times, and then think about how you can implement it, then you can actually take action from the books. Because for me, I remember many of the books I've read, I was just like finished and then I'll go into another one. And then I was sat there afterward thinking like, why did I even read like I didn't even take action. I didn't do anything with the information. I just closed off the book and read a new one. So what is the point if you're not going to take action? So if you use this method, even though it's going to probably be a little bit more boring to read books, then you're actually going to start seeing changes in your life when you start reading the pages a lot more times and actually finding a way to take action on it. And sometimes you might not be able to like implement it into your life, but you'll also be something that you have to keep in mind for, you know, when you're going about your own life, and then you'll just get like a reminder of that thought or what you're supposed to do. Sometimes it may also be that, but the point is just to read the chapter. I do it 4 times because then, you know, I've completely read it, so I know what the chapter is about. I recommend you would do it 4 times. At least 3 times you read the chapter, at least 3 times. I recommend 4 though, but at least 3 if you're going to be lazy, and do it 3 times. But so the best way to remember it is to read the chapter 3 times, or 3 to 4 times. I recommend 4, and then write down the key concepts and actually think about those things you've written down and find a way to implement that into your own life. And once you start doing that, you'll actually feel like the books are helping you way more than they did before, and then your life is going to start improving faster because now you're actually taking action on the knowledge you're getting from books. And as I said in other videos, in books there are the greatest knowledge, so you better get to reading and use this method. Start today using this method. You're clearly interested in self-improvement videos just like this one, so go down and click the subscribe button. It's a win-win for me and you. I get to teach you and you get the knowledge. And remember to put one foot in front of the other.